Hello and welcome to Fresno State Focus. I'm Cassidy Lopez.
And I'm Leticia Leal. We begin with big Fresno State news, and it is good news for graduating seniors. Fresno State students received an email this morning saying there will be a traditional graduation ceremony this spring, as long as Fresno County stays in the red tier. 6 separate ceremonies are planned for May 14th, 15th, and 16th, and will include both last year's and this year's seniors.
Many students have been finding virtual learning to be difficult. For students who are also parents, the challenges are even greater. Brooke Chow talked with a few who are finding a way to do it all.
At Fresno State, student parents are more common than you may think. Many student parents are doing school from home while also making sure their children log on to do school. For most students, their children are their motivation to continue school.
Hearing my daughter say, "I'm proud of my mom," it makes me want to shoot for the stars for her, because I know that this will guide what she's going to aim for, and I have to set that bar high.
Most children are not used to having their parents at home doing schoolwork beside them. For some student parents, the transition to online learning for their children has been hard.
My oldest son said, "Mommy, stay with me." That was kind of like light bulb, like, oh man, this is affecting them too.
Fresno State has 3 child care centers and early education services for student parents when we are on campus. The Campus Children's Infant Toddler Center, the Campus Children's Preschool Center, and the Joyce M. Hudgens Early Education Center. I'm standing outside one of the 3 children's centers here on campus. The specific one is located on the other side of the Fresno State student dorms, and as you can see by this door, it has not been open in over a year due to COVID-19 and not having students here on campus to bring their children. However, hopefully when we do return, students with children are able to complete their studies right across the way and have their child here learning fundamental skills and interacting with other children, a part of our campus community. Brooke Chow, Fresno State Focus.
For more information on child care services, visit Programs for Children at fresnostate.edu.
Students are set to be back on campus next semester. We reluctantly left a year ago, and now that we can return, I asked around to find out how people are feeling. Before COVID, campus was full of life. And now, as you can see here, the campus is empty on a school day. But hopefully we are all set to be back on campus next semester. Not everyone looks forward to that. Some prefer learning from home.
I do like the fact that I don't have to drive to school no more. Saves a lot of gas. When I'm on campus, you have that big gap, and it's like, what should I do? Should I go home? Should I stay here? Should I eat? Should I not eat? Here, it's just like you're home. If I'm hungry, I could go to the kitchen and eat.
For other students, being back on campus is what they are most looking forward to. Not just for the on-campus energy, but for the education.
It's really hard to be productive when you're at home all day and to be motivated by yourself. Learning new material, it's really difficult with asynchronous classes. I like being in a school setting.
Many teachers like that too.
I've never taught online, right? So learning how to be an effective teacher when you can't actually meet with your students was pretty challenging.
This is what we hope campus will look like again. Coming back on campus this semester will involve masks and plenty of hand sanitizer to make sure everyone stays safe. The first day of fall instruction begins August 23rd, according to CSU President Castro. The decision between living on or off campus may be as challenging as picking which school to attend.
Tonya Grivas shows us some pros and cons of both options.
For some freshmen, the choice was made for them. Some athletic teams require first-year students to live on campus. Those students say living in dorms has its benefits.
I'm right next to the pool. I'm only like a walk away from everything, pretty much. So I like the convenience of it being on campus, and I don't have to make my own food. I can go to the dining hall.
But there are certain protocols to living on campus.
There's a lot of rules that come with it. And I mean, like, we all follow them and stuff. Sometimes it seems a little strict, and like, we can't have pets. I would like to have a pet.
For those who require more freedom and privacy, apartment living might be the best option. A junior student, Yulia Tikhaya, says she likes off-campus living better.
I definitely prefer living in the apartments because the most important for me to have my own room and not share a bathroom.
And as other bonus,
an apartment gave me a chance to have a cat.
But there are some downsides to apartment living.
It is further than the dorms from the university and from the pool, and you just have to walk all the time.
One of the things you may find as a disadvantage living in dorms is having to share the space with another roommate, whereas in an apartment complex you have this whole nice serene place to yourself. Tonya Gurieva, Fresno State Focus.
Convenience and pricing are important to keep in mind.
There's also a third option, living at home, which has some good and bad parts to that as well.
Fresno State student employees are making some big changes at work since the pandemic. While they have different perspectives, the ones I talked with say there's one thing they really miss while working on a ghost town of the campus. Fresno State's computer support services went from helping students and staff in person to doing mostly everything virtual.
A lot of phone calls, a lot of Zoom calls, and then we do have some software that allows us to remote into some computers and help them like that. So
the biggest challenge they face is trying to help others with their devices from home. Byron Solorio says the team viewer software they have has been very helpful.
Because it's kind of hard to explain over the phone what to click and where to click because we're not really seeing their screen. So that's been our biggest help.
Before the pandemic, Desiree Abundis was a cashier for the Kennel bookstore, but now she mainly works with internet orders.
I had to basically learn everything for internet orders since we didn't have a lot of customers coming in, and it was mainly just digital.
Not only has her job task changed, so has the amount of people she sees.
So most of the time we had like 5 customers come in compared to the usual about 20 within the hour.
The Joel Administration Building always had a line of students out the door. Now, they barely see any students. Student employees are adjusting to their work life here on campus. They usually see about 20 to 30 people a day, but now they're lucky if they barely see any or a few. Brooke Chow works for the accounting services in the Joel Administration Building. She now helps students over the phone when it used to be in person.
Working on campus during a pandemic is definitely different. I worked on campus pre-pandemic and I saw students every single day, and now I maybe see 2 to 3, which is definitely different for me.
Student employees have learned to adjust to their new work style, although they miss the face-to-face interaction they used to get and are hoping to see students back on campus this fall. As Leticia said, a sense of normalcy returns this fall. Employees will get to start seeing those long lines again. We will be right back with more.
At Fresno State, being bold means committing to something greater than yourself. It's learning by doing and nurturing leaders to advance our shared future. It's using research to create a better life for those around us and healing those who need us most. These are our stories, because at Fresno State, bold begins here.
Success. At Fresno State, it's no secret. It's discovering new ways to change our world. It's creating opportunities as diverse as our community itself. It's in the distinction of our graduates as they lead us into the future. Success is no secret at Fresno State. It's our mission.
The 2020 grad boxes are ready for pickup. Look for the socially distant line outside the Kennel bookstore. Seniors can pick up their grad boxes and get their cap and gown. This year's grad box includes a 2021 alumni shirt, water bottle, license plate frame, and other knickknacks. Seniors were also given a couple of coupons for the Kennel bookstore. This long-standing tradition is a big deal.
Like previous years, I've seen other students like walk around with their box. So like to me, finally be able to get that box is kind of like really exciting.
Grad boxes will continue to be available for the next couple of weeks.
Now with that grad box in hand, many seniors may be booking appointments for their graduation pictures. Deciding the time and location can be a hard decision to make. Joel Hernandez is a photographer and has some advice. Tell your photographer what you want and what you expect your pictures to look like. Our own Fresno State campus tends to be a hot spot for senior pictures. Gio Alvarado is at the Henry Madden Library with more tips and advice for graduates.
Next to the Peace Garden and the Henry Madden Library is a popular place for seniors to take pictures. After doing some research and talking to 2 photographers, I have some tips and advice for you to enjoy your photo shoot. To begin, photographers tell me that your major is most likely to decide where you're going to take your photo shoots. For example, people who are majoring in business are most likely to take their photo shoot at the Peters Building. Here where I'm located, seniors like to enjoy their stuff, so I see pictures of seniors with the 2021, 2020 balloons or the throwing confetti. We advise you that if you're going to use anything to pick up after yourself. Another place to have your photo shoot is here at the iconic waterfall. You're limited to what you can do, but with communication with friends and photographer, you're most likely to get that look. I would recommend you to please keep an eye on the valley and the water, because if you're wearing something expensive, that might be possible. If you're a fanatic of roses, I want to take pictures here. I would recommend you to please wait a little bit longer. As you can see, the roses aren't blooming yet, so in a couple more weeks they should be ready. Whenever you're taking pictures here, I would recommend you to please watch out wherever you walk and try not to damage the roses. If you're gonna use this place as your photography shoot, I would recommend you doing it from sunrise and sunset and try to avoid midday because the sun is above us and we don't have those angles from the sun, so the warm, vibrant colors won't be showing in our pictures. I'm next to the Peace Garden and here in my library, Drew Alvarado, Fresno State Focus.
Earlier this week, students received an email about the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund. The Director of Financial Aid and Scholarships lets us know how this will help students.
The HER Fund 2 is basically a second round of stimulus money that came from the federal government that was earmarked for higher education institutions. And then there's an institutional piece of it, and then there's the student piece where the students get the awards.
So who is exactly eligible to receive the fund?
This second round, the category was broader. So initially, a year ago, when we got money, students who were already in a online program were not eligible. So this time, those students were eligible. And the first time you had to have completed a financial aid application. This time you did not have to. The only thing we had to be sure of is that they were a citizen or an eligible non-citizen. So a student who would have been eligible to have completed the financial aid application, but they didn't have to actually complete it. So it's going to a much bigger, I shouldn't say a much bigger, there was a big group the first time that got it also, but this time it's going to more students.
And when will the awards start to be distributed?
They will start going out the week of April 5th. So we will pull a report on March 26th, so end of this week. So we will base it on that day. So whoever's enrolled on March 26th and whatever units, because you get more if you're full-time than half-time. So whatever units students are enrolled in on March 26th will be what the awards are based on. And then they'll start going out, which would be right after spring break.
Talking to Kelly Russell, Director of the Financial Aid and Scholarships for Fresno State. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Cassidy.
Awesome.
Pleasure to be here.
North Fresno is looking more lively as people head to the River Park Farmers Market. Georgette Garcia shows us how the market is helping families during this pandemic.
Shoppers are feeling more comfortable to go out and enjoy farmers markets. Most have been open throughout the pandemic, like this one at River Park. However, while some shoppers are still mindful of COVID precautions, others are not.
It's definitely been a challenge to have everyone wearing a face mask and having everyone stay socially distant.
A little concerning at points, but it's nice to be able to get out, try some food, support local trucks.
Vendors are tested weekly since the market is considered essential. Face masks and social distancing are enforced for the vendors. Food sales are down compared to pre-COVID times, so the market started a new program to help families on a strict budget.
I always want to encourage people, if they're not aware of it, that we do accept the EBT program. We transfer EBT funds into coins that can be used from our vendors out at the market, as well as we will match up to $10 with extra money for fruits and vegetables.
This market is open Tuesdays and Saturdays. All food is recommended to be taken home to eat. However, there are 2 other farmers markets in Fort Washington and Clovis on Sundays. Face masks are required to enter. Georgette Garcia, Fresno State Focus.
For more information on farmers markets in the area, you can visit their pages on Instagram.
Many pharmacies are giving the COVID-19 vaccines to those who are eligible. But what happens to the leftover vaccines? Rumors have been speculating that these leftovers go to random customers in the store on a first-come, first-served basis, whether those people are eligible or not. One woman who did not qualify to get the vaccine was still able to get vaccinated by calling in and getting on the waiting list. Recently, she got a call, and before she knew it, she was vaccinated.
Everybody has different reasons for wanting to get themselves vaccinated, and I have little kids that I want to keep myself alive for. I feel lucky that I was able to call that day and get it.
Pharmacists say they will not give the unused vaccines to just anyone. Some pharmacies are required proof that you're considered eligible. You can call your local pharmacy to try to get on the waiting list. If you don't mind waiting, everyone will be eligible to get the vaccine in May.
The city of Fresno is getting cleaned up one neighborhood at a time. Ashley Carter shows us what the Beautify Fresno initiative is doing in our community.
It's an awesome opportunity for us to a city to really say we care.
Beautify Fresno, an organization, an event, a concept.
Beautify Fresno means people taking pride in their community, taking pride in their neighborhoods.
Fresno neighborhoods are getting a makeover as people in our community work to restore and clean areas throughout town.
You see a mass of people showing up who are willing to give up a couple of hours of their Saturday morning to come to a strange area and pick up somebody else's trash.
Events happen on various Saturday mornings in different parts of town. Volunteers gather at the locations wearing masks. Once the event starts, they break off into smaller groups, ready to make a difference.
To be able to just go through, spend a couple of hours, pick up some trash, and really feel like you're helping the community.
The volunteers spread out and work on the focus for the day. Some events are planting trees in gardens or removing graffiti. Others are picking up trash throughout town.
Over 170 volunteers showed up today to help Beautify Fresno off of Kings Canyon and Cedar. They all met, and at 10 o'clock, they dispersed everywhere in the community to help pick up trash. By the end of the day, this area will definitely look more beautiful.
As volunteers get to work, the pile of filled garbage bags grows. Streets that were once littered are now trash-free, leaving those involved with a sense of fulfillment.
That sense of accomplishment is so gratifying.
Feeling accomplished, feel like we're making a difference.
And that is what One Fresno is, and that's what Beautify Fresno is.
And I tell you, at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade this for the world.
In Fresno, Ashley Carter, Fresno State Focus.
I had a chance to talk with Mark Standriff about his goals in cleaning up our city.
You know, first of all, we're going to do everything we can to try to clean up and beautify the city through not just graffiti and litter removal, but also tree planting, community garden, and building and maintenance, and hopefully a mural program that we can get some street art out there and to really improve the look and feel of our city by improving the curb appeal. But ultimately, I think the big thing for us is we want to increase the amount of pride that folks have for their community, because really all of this that we're dealing with is a combination of attitude and accountability. And if it looks like the city doesn't care, if it looks like the property owners don't care, then why should I care? And so I'm just going to toss my Starbucks cup wherever I feel like it. But if the accountability's there and the city is saying, you know what, we're not going to let this happen anymore, that we do care, and we're going to do whatever we can to try to clean things up, then the property owners start following suit because they don't want to look bad. And then hopefully individuals start looking around and saying, you know what, we've done a pretty good job around here picking up, I'm going to do my part. And so kind of a rising tide lifts all boats. It really building pride in the community is our ultimate goal.
I look forward to the many great things Beautify Fresno has to offer in the future. We have been talking with Mark Standriff.
Coming up on Fresno State Focus,
a look on how the Fresno State Focus Newscast got an award and why it's such a big deal.
For those who like warm and sunny weather, I'm going to give you updates on how hot it's going to get this week.
Here in the valley, our colors are blue and our waves are red.
bulldog born and bulldog bred. Generations linked forever by traditions that have stood the test of time. Inside our stadiums, we are one. This is our valley, and this year, we're doing it for you.
At Fresno State, being bold means committing to something greater than yourself. It's learning by doing and nurturing leaders to advance our shared future. It's using research to create a better life for those around us and healing those who need us most. These are our stories, because at Fresno State, bold begins here.
Hi, this is Tonya Gurio with your Focus on Weather. Looks like we are getting a lot of sun today, a little bit of clouds, but overall it's very warm and nice outside. Looking on the east coast, you can see this big storm that stretches all the way out from North Carolina to the main state. We can also see the smaller storm in Florida that may bring some tornadoes and severe weather conditions. Moving to the regional satellite, we can see that central and southern California isn't clear. Can't say the same about the northern part. It looks like weather is going to bring some rain and snow out there. In today's high temperatures, we can see the temperatures are going to stay in high 60s and 70s in the Central Valley. In the mountains and foothill, it's going to be a little bit cooler. In tonight's temperatures, we can see that temperatures are going to stay in mid-40s and a little bit cooler in mountains and foothills. So if you're over there, make sure you have a warm blanket. Air quality is looking amazing. So if you have any ideas to go outside and exercise, make sure you use this opportunity. And if you have any allergies, take care of it, because after all, it is springtime. Looking at our 7 days forecast, we can see the temperature is going to drop tomorrow and then going to rise up to 83 degrees on Sunday. Then it's going to drop again, but stay in 70s. That was your Focus on Weather.
The Fresno State Bulldogs are in full swing. Let's find out what the different teams are up to with Carissa King.
At the Aquatic Center, here is your Fresno State sports update.
The women's water polo team beat Concordia University on Saturday at the Aquatic Center, 19-7. Our women's softball team had a very successful weekend at home after winning all 3 games of their triple header against San Jose State University. Spring ball started this weekend for the Fresno State Bulldogs football team. They will be practicing to get ready for their first game of the 2021 season on August 28th versus UConn at home.
At Bulldog Stadium, that's your Focus on Sports. I'm Carissa King with Fresno State Focus.
Now let's take a look at a different sport in Fresno, Taekwondo. How do you social distance with martial arts? Our resident black belt, Ashley Carter, is live to show us how these competitors stay in shape while staying safe.
I'm excited to show you guys my second home. I've been on these mats since before I can remember, so I thought I had seen it all, but boy, was I wrong. One thing that we changed to open back up and stay safe was we taped out squares on the mats to keep the athletes 6 feet apart and safe. That's one change, because before they were allowed anywhere on the mats. Another big change is that Taekwondo is a year-round sport, so there used to be tournaments once a month. Now, we haven't had one in a year and a half. But I can give you a glimpse. These 2 athletes are both state champions behind me, and they're sparring right now. Right now, they're in the ring, they're sparring, they have a coach communicating with them, which is what it would be like at a tournament. Body shots are 2 points. Headshots are 3 points. Spinning shots to the body, 4 points. Spinning shots to the head, 5 points. I know, we're going up the ladder here. But now I can ask these athletes how they feel not competing in a year and a half. Devin, how do you feel not competing in a year and a half?
It's definitely disappointing not being able to go, but knowing that my coaches here are keeping us in shape and ready for a tournament, so we know whenever we open up, we can go.
Thank you, boys. I hope I gave you a good glimpse into Taekwondo in Fresno. Ashley Carter, Fresno State Focus.
Fresno State's Media, Communication, and Journalism Department is putting on more MCJ adulting workshops. They're free and virtual every Wednesday afternoon, designed to help students become a successful professional.
And they will go to everything from, email management to time management, negotiating, all these skills that while we discuss in the classroom, and, for some students, maybe this is information that they haven't had access to before.
Any student who attends 4 out of 5 workshops receives a certificate. Head to the Fresno State Arts and Humanities website for more info. You can even find previous workshops there.
Fresno State Focus isn't just a newscast, it's an award-winning newscast. Our student newscast was awarded the 2021 WAVE Award for the category of news coverage. This was based on our April 22nd broadcast by the Spring 2020 MCJ class.
It was something new, we were able to put everything together and do it online. So I feel like we earned this because it was a teamwork.
We thank the Alliance for Community Media for recognizing our hard work. And to brag for just a moment, our student newscast has won this award for 6 straight years.
You've gotten to see the face and hear the accent. Tonya Guriva is an international student born and raised in Moscow, Russia. She grew up active and full of energy alongside her 5 brothers. That energy led to her synchronized swimming at the age of 4. She started competitively swimming at 17, which gained the attention of Fresno State. Her recruitment set her on path of broadcasting.
I picked mass communications and journalism with the broadcast option actually by chance, because I transferred to Fresno State, and to save my eligibility, I didn't have that many options. And when I saw all the offered options, mass communications journalism sounded the best, and I ended up falling in love with it.
After graduation in the fall, she looks to combine her longtime experience with sports and her newfound love for journalism as a sports broadcaster. We're off next week for spring break, and we need a break.
But we'll be back to work after that. See you then.